Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft here from Heroes Landing. In today's episode we are starting out here in the beautiful Blossom Town where I just finished up planting these couple of trees here on the other side of the bridge, and I gotta say they kind of frame out the town just so nicely. Every time you bring in some trees around like a busy area, it just makes it feel so much more environmental and it really just brings everything together, which I love so very much. The other thing that I went ahead and did, it was add a little backyard to this nice beautiful house here that we have. So I just added a simple little backyard with a nice little fire pit area. I want to do some flower pots and things over here, as well as a little bit of lighting to get rid of that torch. But I just threw this together real quickly just to kind of see how it would look. And I gotta say, I actually like this a lot. Once the road is kind of extended out and we have everything kind of built in together and kind of like fits the environment a little bit more, it won't look so awkward. Because right now, yeah, it kind of looks a little bit awkward. But I think once the roads are kind of built out and we kind of detail things out, a couple of trees, like I said, I think this little backyard will look really, really cute. But that's not where I want to focus for the beginning of this episode. Where I want to focus is this area out here. So we have these kind of wheat fields that I started originally, but changed course and built up these guys, as you guys know, in the recent episodes. So what I want to do right now to start this episode off is actually tear all of this wheat out and all these seeds that are still growing up. I want to get rid of all of this. And you can also see we have this little shrine area that I built up originally as well. So I think this is really cute and it's really nice, but unless you're right up here, you won't even know this is here. So I kind of want to take this and build it a little bit more extreme here at the start of this episode. I think this is going to look really cool and it'll give your eye something when you're in town to be like, oh, there's something way outside of town here. Let me take this road all the way out there and go see what it is. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and start removing all of this wheat here and see how this looks. Okay, so we've gone ahead and removed all of our wheat fields and stuff out here on the outskirts of town. And I've also gone ahead and started to carve out this mountain a little bit. I think I want to push it back maybe one or two more layers, maybe a third, actually, just to buy ourselves a little bit of extra space. Because what I'm thinking we should go ahead and do is kind of build up like a nice ancient gate, like doorway here. I think that'll look really, really cool and take a little bit of inspiration from our ancient bridge over there near our nether portal and kind of bring that in here like it's the same architects, the same ancient civilization that built up these different landmarks, and I think that'll look really cool. So yeah, like I said, I'm thinking like a nice giant gate here will look really cool. It doesn't have to go anywhere, it just kind of has to symbolize something here, and then a nice large cherry tree that kind of wraps around it as well. I think that'll look just so beautiful, but it is going to take a lot of materials here, so I'm going to run off and get those materials now. While gathering up materials, I decided to head back home to get a little bit of respite and check our mailbox for any incoming mail. And to my surprise, we actually had a letter here called Bravery's Reach Invitation. So it says, "Dear hero, we summon you to embark on a grand quest. Your bravery and strength are needed to build a thriving kingdom where peace and prosperity reign. Join us as we forge a land of hope, uniting people under your inspiring leadership. Together we can create a legacy that will be remembered for generations to come. Your adventure awaits. People of Bravery's Reach." So it looks like we have gotten an invitation to start a brand new village and grow it into a kingdom. All right, so with a ton of materials gathered up here, we are ready to go build this thing up. And so again, we're going to be building kind of like an ancient gateway here, and with a giant cherry tree kind of wrapping around it as well. It's going to frame it out really nicely, and like I said, from the village you're going to be able to see it, and it's really going to grab your eye with all the pink and everything kind of wrapped around here. So I think it's going to look really, really beautiful. So without further ado, let's jump into a time lapse and get this thing built up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, check it out. We have our cherry tree done with our large gate here, and I gotta say, it is looking just so very beautiful. Some of the details you might see in the cherry tree is like we have these white glass panes that are kind of dripping down out of the leaves, just giving it a little bit more detail. And I actually think I'm going to go ahead and replace just a few of them with some ender rods that we have a nice little glow up in the canopy throughout. And I think that'll look really cool. But I'm just loving this build with a little bit of white concrete powder for like some extra color up in there to match the leaves. Because you can actually see there's a little bit of white pixeling around the flowers here. So I think it just makes those pop a little bit more. We also have some of the pink glass up in there just to give it a little bit of see-throughness. I think it looks really cool up there. And I gotta just say, like, this arc here that it has took me quite a bit to kind of like feel comfortable with it. I kind of came up with it real quick, and then I had to like build it out because the stems were just looking a little too thin at first, but I think it came out really good. And then I kind of just created this little branch off to the left just to give it a little bit more life and not make it look so linear almost. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. And as for the gate itself, you might be thinking, but Nick, there's no actual gate, there's no door into the mountain. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I've got plans for that. You might have to wait a little bit, but I've got plans for it. And speaking of the gate, looking at some of the details we have in this, I really tried to match the detailing that I did with the large bridge over near our nether portal, just kind of bringing in some of that little bit of texturing and everything just to give it some life and make it look like it's the same kind of time frame or maybe architects as the bridge itself. I think it looks really good. I love this over in this area. If we take kind of a step back over here, I gotta say, like, it just fills up this mountainside really nicely. And obviously, we have to do some blending of the mountain into the portal, clean up some of these holes, and bring this waterfall back down and build this stream out a little bit more. But everything is looking really good, and I don't think that's going to take me too long. It'll take a little bit of kind of messing around and kind of just detailing everything out. But I think that's going to come out really nicely and everything. And it's going to make this corner of this like field look really nice. And since we got our invitation from Bravery's Reach, I think this is a really good time to build out a flower farm in this little spot. You can see we have our flower biome, and we can build up some automated flower farms right here. And it'll supply us with enough flowers to plant them in the fields out there by the gate, and that'll just kind of bring the atmosphere of like all the flowers and everything really down into the fields of Blossom Town. And I think that's just going to feel really nice. So I think this is going to be our first build for Bravery's Reach over here in this village, is building up a beautiful flower farm right here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so I've gone ahead and kind of terraformed this whole area out quite a bit. We have a little bit of work on the village side of things, but over here we're going to be building our flower farm. I've raised it up about 2 blocks, I think it is 2 or 3 blocks from the water level where it was, and yeah, just smooth everything out in a nice large landscape here so we can start going. And so the thing with these flower farms is, actually, I thought in the flower biome you could just bone meal a single spot and it would just give you whatever flowers spawn, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be like certain areas within the biome actually spawn a certain flower. So if we bone meal over here, like we got the orange tulips, if we go on over this way, we got the white tulips, and I think we got these pink, I don't know actually what these are, but we have these over here. What are these? Alliums? Yeah, so we have the alliums over there as well, and I think we have some red tulips right here. So we can set up multiple farms, and they'll just have to be kind of like piped into this greenhouse, into a storage chamber for all of these flowers. I think that'll be fine because I think I'm going to do the farms underground anyways. That way we just have the large greenhouse here, and that's where like our collection system will be underneath and everything. I think that'll look really cool, and that gives us 4 different flowers to kind of produce, as well as a bunch of seeds and everything, so that we can continue building up our bone meal and just resupplying the farms. And then strangely, I noticed over here when I was building up the terrain is we have one single pink tulip over, I think it's pink, right? Yeah, pink tulip. We have one single pink tulip here, but if we check, this actually is part of the river biome, and it doesn't go into the flower biome, what is that, flower forest, until like right there. So that's where we have these white tulips. So I don't know how that one pink tulip has spawned right there, but that's pretty cool. I wish we could get another pink tulip into the farm over here, but I think we got the orange and white here, and it just continues into the orange. I think there's another red spot over here as well. But yeah, I think it'd be nice to have the pink tulips, but we do have 4 different tulips, or 3 different tulips in the allium, so this farm should be totally acceptable in my opinion. It was at this time that I spent like the next 3 to 4 hours digging this hole, only to realize that it wasn't big enough and didn't fit the farms properly. So I had to keep going back and kind of trimming the fat around these farms to just fit perfectly in space. So a lot of revisions needed still. So after a few hours of digging and building up these farms, we finally have them in place. We have 4 different farms that we can grow different types of flowers in this little flower biome. This is actually looking really cool, but I will say these are all manual farms, so I could switch this one on back over here. You can hear it going already, and I'm gonna turn that off. It's pretty loud. But you can see, so we'll have to turn that on, get up here, and then collect the flowers. And you can see that this patch here is actually split, so we're getting the other type of flowers and all kinds of things like that. But we're getting plenty of seeds and things, so we'll actually be able to produce a pretty good amount of bone meal from all of this. We have the red tulips. That is what this section will be producing. I think this one over here is the orange or possibly the white, and then whatever one is over there, and then the alliums in the back corner over there. So yeah, all of these are manual at the moment, and I would like to get this set up so that I could just flip a switch and all 4 of them turn on, and all 4 of them are collecting kind of on their own. But I think that's going to take a minecart, and I just don't know how well that's going to work. But this works for now. I'm pretty happy with this. This is kind of just the infrastructure for this flower farm in place right now, and then we can kind of progress and continue building onto this later. But for now, I want to go back up surface side and get our main build in place. But before that, I got to get a lot of materials. Starting with the acacia wood. So we needed about 8 stacks of acacia wood. Actually, these are the logs, and we also needed about 2 stacks of the wood. So that was using 4 logs per wood. So we actually had to harvest up a ton of this acacia wood. So I just planted a ton of seeds or saplings in the open area around our bases and stuff, and then just started harvesting it, which actually can kind of be a bit of a pain the way it branches out. And then we needed a ton of copper and tough and all of the variants of tough bricks and blocks that we now have with this new update, which is actually not that bad of a thing. Going to our trial chamber that we found recently, you can harvest up all of the waxed copper that you could possibly need, as well as the tuft. It's a bit of a challenge to get to the trial chamber, and you always got to be careful where you're harvesting it so that you don't accidentally spawn some mobs and get attacked and kind of get distracted in that sense. But we have all of the copper that we could ever need, but we do still need a honey farm so that we can get these to the right oxidation. All right, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen, our brand new greenhouse. And check this thing out. I am so happy with this build. I gotta say, it just looks so beautiful in my opinion. We're bringing in all the mossy tones throughout. We also have these like splotches of brown that we've kind of kept on our bridge across there, and again on our gate earlier in this episode, and just bringing that back in over here kind of just ties the whole world in together. Once you see these themes kind of popping up in your build styles throughout the whole world, I think it's going to be really cool. We also have these large windows with the acacia wood kind of blending into all of the stones and all the mossy. I think it looks really good. And also we have these dark oak accents around here, just kind of tying in all of that. I think it looks so good. I can't wait to fill out these greenhouse areas. They're going to be full of plants on the inside, full of flowers and everything like that. I think it's going to look so beautiful. And if we take a look here at the roof, you can see we're bringing in a ton of copper that we mined from our trial chamber. Actually, I think it looks really good. We also have to scrape these down and kind of give them a few more tones rather than just the fully oxidized. You can see we have a couple right there, but we don't have the honey currently to make sure that they wax at the proper stage that we want. But I actually like this a lot. I think that dome came out really good. It's a little wonky, but I think I did all right with it. This is kind of like my first time doing a dome like that, so I think it came out pretty good. But yeah, I can't wait. I think what their next step is obviously to blend this into the environment, build a little bit of a road coming into it, a little pathway inside, and then yeah, like build up some small trees here on the outsides, kind of blending it in, a little bit of bone meal on the outside, as well as filling out this interior where we just have this huge open area full of natural light and everything, so that we can put flowers and all kinds of beautiful stuff in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the interior is pretty much finished for now. So let's go ahead and check out this interior, and I gotta say, it is looking so very nice, very beautiful. You can see on this side it's a little bit more empty, but we'll come back to the reason why. But let's check out over here where we have it a little bit more lush and a little bit more full, and everything is looking so very beautiful, if I have to say so myself. So let's go ahead and check out some of the details that I really love with this. Obviously, we're using the grates here, the copper grates that need to be oxidized in the right fashion. Currently, we don't actually have much honey, so that's going to be hard to keep this all oxidized to the perfect level, which is like one before this here. Let's see. Yeah, I like this right here. I like that tone. If we can get that tone on all of these, that'll look very nice. But yeah, check it out, guys. We have our flowers over here. So this is where we're going to be storing like all of our tulips that we get from this farm. We obviously have our saplings for all the trees here. We have some of our basic flowers here in the entryway. And then we have some more storage for different flower items when we get them. Obviously, you can see we have this beautiful bench here, and I have to say these signs in the corners were not my idea. I got those off the internet following some reference photos, but I have to say I love that detail. I had the bench here at first, but this little extra detail is so beautiful. Obviously, we have a lot of hanging flowers and things around. I have to say everything's looking really good, and I'm really happy with this build, but I think we are missing a few flowers like the torch flower and the pitcher pod. So next episode, I think we're gonna be finding ourselves a sniffer and placing it down in here, and he can roam around in here and get those flowers for us, which will be perfect. And that'll fill out this area a little bit better as well. But I have to say, guys, I think this all came out really nicely and is looking beautiful. If you guys think so, leave a thumbs up on the video. But the last thing that I need to do in this episode is drop down here and run our farms for a little bit so that we can plant some more flowers over by the gate. This is when I decided to kind of blend the gate back into the mountain a little bit, just keeping the same texturing method throughout. So I brought in a little bit of andesite, some stone, and then a little bit of tuft on the bottom as well, just to give it a little bit of shadow on the ground level, and then kind of just topped everything off with like a little bit of a layer of dirt. I also took a little bit of time to blend our river and our waterfall back in together. It's still a little bit flat. We definitely need to bring in a little bit more detail and things around the edges, but it's looking really beautiful. And then I turned my attention to the fields themselves. They were feeling a little bit flat and kind of uneven in my opinion. So I decided to terraform them up and kind of just build a larger hilltop for the flower fields to sit on top of. Then turning my attention to the flower fields themselves, I wanted to make them feel accessible, so I kind of spaced out the hedges and then just planted the flowers in a nice diagonal pattern, giving them just a nice, beautiful feel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me in this episode. I hope you had a lot of fun. I sure did, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. And if you happen to miss it, we recently gained partnership with YouTube. So we actually have our tier 1 subscription set up with a personalized Discord channel for all things Little Nicky, but I want to kind of grow this into a community where like-minded builders and redstoners and everything else can kind of come together and have a little bit of a community around my YouTube channel, I suppose. If you're interested, please check that out, and again, I'll see you guys in the next episode.